So text holds sentences, and we take all the words up to a comma or period, and we put those words into sentence. And sentence holds those words. Then we look at word by word. We take the first word we're at, and we take the first letter of that word, and we're going to take how many letters long that word is. Then we go to lookup tables, and A to Z will exist, and the second and the third and the fourth lookup tables won't exist yet. So if you don't find them, then you'll have to add them. So then we go to B, and then we go to 3, and then we'll look for B3, and if you don't find 3, you'll have to add it. And then the third lookup table, we're always going to pick 1, and you'll have to add that then, or you could just already have 1. And then the fourth lookup table, you're going to look for that word we're at finally. And then so you look through all the words there and look for an exact match. Now if you don't find it, which right now there's nothing there, then you'll add a new ID for it, which is like, if you had 1 to 4 already, you'd add the new ID for it 5. So right now there's no IDs, we add 1. And then you add the word beside it, an actual word in here. And then we're going to once you find it or make it, add it to parts. We add the word location and sentence, which is 1 we're at. And then we do the next one. We have B3. We go through the lookup tables, B3, 1, the layers. And then we go through the fourth lookup table, we look for that word, we don't find it. So we added a new ID, and we add the word. Then we add it to parts, the word location we're at, in sentence. Done iterating sentence word by word, we have all the parts, each part, word location, and sentence. We want to take all of them, we want to tie them together. We want to take 2 at a time, 1 and 2, and tie them together. So you take 1, and it tells you to go to the word location sentence 1. And it's big. So you take big, you got B3, and you're going to go through the lookup tables B3, pick 1 for the third lookup table, and for the fourth lookup table you want to look for that word like you did before, big, and then you want to hold position that. And then you want to take the other part we're tying together, word location 2, and sentence, and it's right here, bed, and it's B3, first letter, and then you go B3, 1, and then you look for that word, fourth lookup table, bed, and then you hold position, and then you want to add the same set after both. So it's like a division there, you got sets after these IDs and words. And then so you want to add the same set, and each set is made of 5 objects. So you could have like 1, B3, 2, 89. So the first part that we're tying together gets a 0, the second one gets a 1. Then the next 2 numbers that they both get are going to be decided by the first word of the first part we're tying together, and that's going to be B3. So you add B3. The next object that we add is going to be 2, because with the 2 parts we're tying together, there's 2 words. Part 1 is 1 word, part 2 is 1 word. So we add 2 after both sets we're making. And then the last one's going to be 1, because we don't know it yet, so because we have to go through what we made. We're actually going to use it to go through the lookup tables and go to that position. So we go to B3, 2, and we go B3, layer 2, and then we want to add an ID, 1, and then we're going to go back to here and add that ID that we made, because we don't know if there's already IDs, we might have to make the new ID for it. So we go back here and we add that in. Now we want to refresh parts, get rid of what we made, and sentence. We want to do this again. We go continue off, we take the next words up to a comma or a period. We take bed, big, we add it in sentence, and bed, big, we go through each word by word. And then we do it again. We take first letter and letter count of the first word we're at. And then we go through the 4 lookup tables. We go B3, 1, and then we look for bed, and we actually find bed, and then we add that part here, 1, and then you do it again, 2, Another thing I left out is that when you do go through for lookup tables and you look for that word and you find it or make it, you might find sets of 5 objects and another set of 5 objects. You might find them, so when you did go through and you found big, you look for sets and you find it, so you do add a set after you add that word location part. So for this one it would be. Another thing I left out is that when you do get all the parts and you're done iterating sentence, you want to look for matching sets. So here you have a matching set, you ignore the first 2 objects, but 2 more things that have to be required is that you have bed, big, first part of the 2 you're tying together has to start with a 0. And another thing is that you have to be tying together incremental by 1 word location. So if you had 1, 2 and you had 4, 5, it wouldn't be in sequence. And then what you want to do is you want to take 2 parts, tie them together, 2 at a time. And what we do then is you're going to basically end up with the same thing here, but you're going to add on to the sets a new set of 5 objects. So since it's bed, big, you're going to give them the same set, but this one's going to begin with a 0, and this one's going to begin with a 1. And then it's B3 of the first part word, and then it's going to be 2 again, and then it's actually going to go to here, and it's going to be 2 this time, got a new ID, and then we go back here and add that ID 2. Refreshing parts in sentence, and we take the next part in text, a bed, and we add it to sentence, and we go through it. We found bed, we don't find a, and here I added it, and you add the 2 part word locations in sentence, and now you want to tie them together, but you also, with bed you find the sets, and so you add them. You look for matching sets, and obviously you can't have it be the same one even if they match, and so you go through word location 1 and 2 in sentence, and you pick A and you pick bed, and you find the 2 positions to hold in the for lookup tables. You hold in A, you hold in bed, and then you want to add the same set after them. They both get this set because you have a bed, so A gets the 0, bed gets the 1, and then it's A 1 because a bed, A is the first word of the first part, and it is in A and letter amount 1, it's 1 letter long, and then the third one is the next one's going to be 2, and that's because there's 2 words in these 2 parts. If it was 2 parts and 5 words, then it would be letter 5. And then the last one is going to be 1 because you're going to go through these lookup tables, A, 1, letter 2, and then you're going to add a new ID, and then that's going to be 1. Then you go back here and you know to add it 1, and then 1. The next part in text is can of bed, and you go through each word, you look for them, you want to make sure that they all exist. And so you have can, you have a, and you have bed, and you add all the parts. Then you look for sets after can, a, and bed, and then you find that can has no sets, a has 1 set, and then bed has 3 sets. You look for matches, and here you do find a match. You have 1A, 1, 2, 1, and 0A, 1, 2, 1. The other 2 requirements, a bed, A has to be a 0 with the 2 parts you're tying together, and bed has to have in its set a number 3, a 1 for the first object, and it has to be with the 2 parts of this matching set from 2 to 3. So if it was 2 to 4, it wouldn't be in sequence. So when you find a matching set like that, you want to add a new part in parts that is 2 and 3, and so you add 2 and 3. Once you make that, you look for any matching sets again, and now you don't. And then you want to take 2 parts at a time and tie them together. Now you have here 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3. You want to actually find the biggest combo, which is going to be like, say So you have a sentence that's 1 to 4 word locations in sentence, and you want to make that a sentence. So you take two parts at a time to tie together. So you have a whole bunch of different parts, and you can't use all of them because you want to make the sentence. So you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be 2, and then that would be 1 and 1, because there's 2 in that one. So that's why I put 2 and 1 and 1. The next one would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that is 3 there, and then 1. Now you want to try them all because you're going to have one that's going to be the biggest. So what that means is that you would choose this one because the second number is bigger than this second number. So it's 3, 3, 2, 3, 2. Oh, so then you got bigger number, so you pick that one. So what it means is that here you want to pick 2, 3, and 1 because that would mean 2, 1. Whereas if you pick 1, 2, 3, which is the whole sentence is going to be saved, you would have 1, 1, 1. And so if you pick 1 and 2, 3, then it's going to be 2, 1. And so you want to pick 2, 3, and 1. And then you're going to tie them together. That means what you're going to do is you're going to take one word location 1 and you're going to go to Ken and hold. And you're going to hold there in the lookup tables. And so as I said, we made a part 2 and 3. So you want to go back to the match and use that matching set that we found. Take all of it except for the first object, and you want to go through those lookup tables. So A, 1, 2, 1, A, 1, 2, go to that, ID, 1. You want to hold position there. What we did is we found a part saved in the hierarchy, A bed. So you want to now hold position in A bed and Ken, and you want to tie together Ken and A bed. What you add in for the set for both of them that they get is you have 1, 2, 3, the parts, and so 1 is Ken, so you want to take the first word of that first part, 1, word location 1 in sentence, and it's going to be C3, because Ken. So it's going to get a 0. Then the other one gets a C and 3. And then the last two are going to be how many words are in these two parts we're tying together, part 1 and part 2, 3. And so that's 3 words. And so you add in 3. And then we want to go to the lookup tables. We're going to go through C3 and then the layer 3, and then we're going to add a new ID, and then we go back to these and add that ID in. The last part is to display a visualization of the hierarchy. What you have here is A, B, C, and then 1 letter long words, 2 letter long, 3 letter long, and then here you might have a whole bunch of 3 letter long words that start with B, like big, bed, bug. And so that's a way that you can look at them. And then say you got big bed and bed big. So if you got big bed, then it would be starting with big. So it's above big, and you make connections to a node. So you have big bed. And so for example, if you got a bed, it would be making connections in the visualization to a node, and it's going to be above A because it begins with A. And then so if you got Ken a bed, then you'd be taking that part and it's going to be above Ken a bed. Now the way to do this, to get them, is you're going to go through the lookup tables. You're going to go from A to Z, go through all of them. Now if you go to A, for example, you're going to go through again all the columns from 1 letter long words to whatever highest we made, say 12 letter long words. And so you go through A to Z, column 0 to whatever, and then for the third lookup table, we're going to always pick 1 just to get the words. We don't want to get like kind of bad. We just want to get all the words in the first layer. And then for the fourth lookup table, we're going to go through all of the IDs there. And then once you got all the words in the lookup table hierarchy we got, you're going to put them in parts, and you're going to look for all the matching pairs. And then that's how you get to like A bed is a matching pair, because you might find that like A and bed have that same set. So then what you do is you do what I said there, you put it in the visualization, some connections in a node like that, A bed.